Howdy, Possum Patty here, and I printed out some pictures of a tiny adventure that Mr. Possum and I went on, and I'm going to be putting them in my journal, so come on along. We went to the American Heritage Museum in Hudson, Massachusetts. And they have a very large collection of tanks and planes and old cars and some very really neat interactive historical displays. So I'm working in my gnome journal today, and I just want to what if I need 2 pages, because I brought back some brochures and I have a bunch of pictures. I already printed them out, so I want to stick them in. I don't want them to go to waste. And I had a big sticker. Let me see if I can find that sticker. Here it is. And I was going to buy one of these, and I went up to the desk to pay for it. It was $2, but I figured, well, it'll be nice in my journal. And the guy gave me one for free. He says they give these away to school groups that come. And I told him I was a retired teacher, so he gave me the scavenger hunt paper. So they give this paper to the kids, and they go through the different displays, and they answer the questions, and then when they're all done, they take it up to the desk, and they give them these really nice big stickers. So I don't know how I'm going to get all this on even 2 pages. Something really fun there that we did not do was you can drive a Sherman tank, or they have 2 different kinds of tanks, I guess. The Chaffee light tank or the larger Sherman tank. And it does cost a lot of money, and we did not do that. But yeah. But I got the brochure anyway. And this is the actual museum brochure. And this is the map. You can see they have a lot to look at there. They have everything from the Revolutionary War to the First World War, Second World War. They've got Korean War, Vietnam War, Cold War, Gulf War, 9/11, and the War on Terrorism. There's a lot there on display that they say is not on display anywhere else in the entire country. Very, very interesting. If you're into history, and to tell you the truth, I am not a history buff, but Mr. Possum is. Mr. Possum is very much into history, and I go because, you know, I love Mr. Possum, and Mr. Possum loves history, and that's how it works out. I could do this, right? Just put this map down like this and put my pictures on here. Let's see, this is the, well, I'll show them as a slide, but they have a steel girder from the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center that came down. This is some Revolutionary War cannons. I think they were made in Philadelphia. And when you first walk into the museum, Kitty wants to get in my lap. What do you want? Yeah, meow. You actually go down into a trench, and there's this nurse by the first aid wagon there, and she sort of tells the story of what's going on. Very, very interesting to hear it from the nurse's perspective. And I took a picture of this tank because I admired the artwork on it. And and Mr. Possum wanted me to stand in front of one of these tanks just to show how big the tank was. So I figured I'd put that in, since I have a picture of me and a picture of him. So, cat shit in my face now. The way they printed this, it's like this side is upside down from that side. So I could put something else on this side. I could put some paper. I do have this big sticker I could cover that with, and then open this like a booklet, like that, and then put my pictures on the inside, and then maybe do something with the brochures on this side. I don't have to put everything in there. Oh, Kitty's really looking for attention. Okay, I'm going to do some planning and I will be right back. Okay, if I make a giant pocket on this side and just glue this around 3 edges, I can save the brochure and just stick it in here. And so we'll have that in case we ever want to go back. I know he wants to go back because the large hangar with the airplanes and the big barn with the cars in it, the old automobiles, is only open like from May to October because there's no heat or air conditioning in there, I guess. So we have to go back to see those exhibits, and they do have special presentations on different days too. Different speakers come in, things like that, you know, history stuff. History was always my least favorite subject because it seemed to be mostly about, at least the history books I had, you know, conquering wars. And, you know, dates and who won what wars and what year what wars were fought, and I don't know. I mean, I like the inventions and the explorations, but I really didn't care much for just learning about all the different wars and the dates and who fought who and who won and all that kind of stuff. And it just wasn't interesting to me. So I really want to put the sticker in here, but I don't want this as a background. So I pulled this page out of an old book, and this is World War I believe. And it's kind of old, very vintage. This is old, like this is an English book. Printed in England. And 1938. 1938. So if I put it here, I might have to Mod Podge it to sort of protect it a little bit, I think. But I think it'd be a really cool background, and then I could put the sticker down here in the corner, and then when you open it up, I will put the pictures we took at the museum in here, and then I'll put the brochure in the pocket. And basically this is just to give you some inspiration on how you can preserve memories of places you go and use what you have on hand to sort of enhance your journaling page. Alright, so I'm going to have to, wait, I don't need the book right now. I need to go find some newspaper and some Mod Podge and get this glued down. I'm going to get all this done and dry before I put the pictures on the inside, and then when that's done I'm going to make the pocket, and I'm still thinking about another page. I really don't need to distress this because it's very naturally aged, but you can see some of the white paper from the other side, so just going to add a little distress to it, make it a little darker around the edge. And I did change the inside. I covered it with the back. I had 2 brochures, so I took one of the brochures and I glued it down with these colorful pictures instead of the map of the museum, which I like that too, but I don't know, I just thought I'd change it. Change it to something more colorful. And then the brochure on the inside will tell you about all the different areas that you can go to, which is very cool. When you first go in, the first thing you do is get down into this trench, like the trench warfare that they had in World War II. And then there's World War I, and some explosions going on in the screen. And then they do like the whole Disney experience thing where, you know, the ground is rumbling and you can feel the vibration of the explosions. It's very cool. And then the next room you go into is pre-World War II, Rise of the Reich. And then you go into the big room where all the, what do they call it? Armored vehicles. Largest and finest museum of armored vehicles in North America. Many one of a kind and in running condition. So that is that. And then they have like movie screens that come down and tell you the story of different things. I'm going to put my sticker right here on the front. Got some uniforms and things. I mean, some things are just very interesting that that I've never heard about before, like the jets that were scrambled on 9/11. The 2 jets that were scrambled to go after the plane that was the one that crashed in Shanksville. They never reached it, but the one was a woman pilot. She was in the National Air Guard. Is that what you call it, the National Air Guard? And she said they had no time to arm the planes. The planes were not ready for anything. They had no live ammunition on their airplanes, and they had no time to arm the planes. And they just went up, and their plan was to basically just crash into this jet if it looked like it was going to like fly into the White House or the Capitol or wherever it was headed. Their mission was, one was going to take the front of the plane and knock it, and the other one was going to take the tail of the plane and knock it right out of the sky, because they had no ammunition, and they knew that they probably would not be going home after this mission if it was successful. And very interesting story. Very interesting story. And I didn't know it. I didn't know there was a lady pilot. I didn't know that they were not armed, but they were ready to sacrifice their lives to save other lives. Okay, what's next? All right, back to the book. All right, that's looking good. That's interesting. And then you open it up. I have to glue this down like a pocket. I'm going to do that now so it has some time to dry. And there is a slab of the Berlin Wall. It talks about the Cold War. So I went down the basement because everybody knows I have the magical basement. I do have a piece of the Berlin Wall, not that big, just a little chip, because a friend of mine, son, who was studying German at the time, his class went on a field trip to Germany, and this was right after the wall was coming down, and they all picked up handfuls of the rubble and brought them back. And they do have tiny bits of graffiti on them, you could see. And I had to pack everything up when we moved. And my rocks and stone collection is a bit of a jumble right now, because I really never unpacked most of it. So I'm using the Fabri-Tac. Very strong hold. I usually like to use the Fabri-Tac to make the pockets. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And I know we didn't drive the Sherman tanks around, but that's something you can do there. Roar into history. So I was getting this crazy idea of putting one of those interactive slides on the page and cutting out the tank and putting it on the slide, just for funsies. And I know I have this lovely gnome journal, and everybody does such beautiful journaling. But, you know, I journal life. Even if the journal is beautiful, I still have to journal what's happening. See, I got a beautiful page here, nice and sparkly. And over here I have war, but that's okay. It's what we did. It's what happened. I don't shy away from it at all. All right, so maybe I could put another one of these pages here and make an interactive tank page. I know that sounds crazy, but I just may do that while the pocket dries, and then when that's all dry, I'm going to put my photos on this page. Okay, I glued the picture onto a piece of cardstock, and I ran it through the Big Shot machine to cut out the track. And I'm going to glue the track to the page like that. Make sure it's where I want it. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, after you get that track glued down to the page, there's several things that you have to do. And one of them is you make some of these circles. They give you the die with the set. You get different shapes of tracks, straight, curved, and an S shape. And you get a little pack of these little nibs. That's what runs in the track there. I have to put some of that foam dimensional tape around the edge to put this down. But before I do that, where's my tank? I cut out my tank. And I lost my tank. Where's my tank? Stand by. Got thrown over in the pile. I have a big pile of stuff right over there. Okay, I put a little cardstock on the back of that, and I went with black around the edge. And you have to attach a dot to this, although this is pretty sturdy. Probably don't need the dot. a dot to the other side. So I got to get out one of these little nibby things. All right. I've only done this once before when I made my wiggly worm. I think that was my HP journal. Okay, let's see. This side right here. I want it to go about there. Now, if I had made a straight track, I could have put 2 dots to keep this from wiggling around, but I didn't do that. So this is going to have to do. I hope it doesn't get too wiggly. Try to get that in the middle. Okay, then you put your dot through. Through the slot, your dot through the slot. And now you're going to glue this side. Okay. Give that a minute to dry. And I'll be looking for my foam tape. You don't want to put this flat because you want some dimension so the slider thing has room to work. Do I have more of this? Yes, I do. It's a little wider, but there is more. Just in case I run out. I might put a couple pieces of that wider one in the middle so that this thing has some support. Pressing these down. See, I want to make sure there's some support around this. So I think I'll just add some of this in here. Gonna have to get some more foam tape. And now you have to be careful that you aren't going to hit that dot. See, that's going to hit. And I just knocked this off. It's probably a good thing to put the foam tape on before you do this. Instead of while that little drop is drying. just making some support. We're trying to stay away from where that little dot is. Okay. All right, I'm going to give this a second to dry. Okay, the tank was wobbling around too much, so I'm going to put 2 of these on to stabilize it. So while this is drying, before I can attach it to this, I'm just going to put that aside and let that dry really well and go back to my pictures, which I have, I think 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them. And let's see, can I just stick them on here? Maybe I should put them on some kind of background so they stand out a little bit from the brochure. This is the same thing as that. This is the same thing as that. Put that there, put that there. Put that there. Put that there, put that there. All right, whoops. All right, I think I will give them, no, you know what? I think I'm just going to stick them right on. I think I'm just going to stick them right on. This is from my Canon Ivy mini printer. And this paper is called Zinc for Zero Ink. And they're stickies. They have a new pack out now where you can print out on, you know, like circles, like round stickers. I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't gotten that one yet though. But these are perfect for journaling. You run the printer with your phone, so you take pictures with your phone when you're out and about. And you can even take the printer with you, because the printer has rechargeable batteries in it. Now it looks like I'm part of the brochure. I think I'll put this one like that. Oop, there we go. Okay, 2 more. Put one over here. I'll say you go to beautiful botanical gardens. You can do the same thing. Instead of having a tank, you can make a flower page and have a little bee on the slider going from flower to flower. Okay, now the pictures don't stand out at all, but they look like they're part of the brochure. And that's okay. Kind of cool. Okay, so this pocket is probably dry. So I can put my brochure right there. And what else can I put in there? Should I put in the scavenger hunt? Sure, why not? I need to clean off the desk. Too much stuff. Okay, I'm going to put the scavenger hunt in there too. Okay. And how are we doing over here? Okay, now I am going to put those in the slot like that. And now you have to add the circles to the back. Then I gotta let that dry for a minute. Okay, I'm just going to let this dry. Oops. Just trying to get it in the middle there. Okay, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. Alrighty, I took the back off of the foam tape. Oops, and it's sticking to my fingers. Oop, as you can see, just messed it up. I'll pull the glue right off my fingers. These are almost dry. I don't want to move that around too much. But I have to line this up. I turned the camera off for a moment because the track was a little sticky. And I think that's from the matte medium that I put on this page. Oh, it still drives around. It's a little sticky there. Maybe need to let it dry a little more. Or I could give it the old baby powder trick. Give it the old baby powder trick. Got a little baby powder on my hand here. Oh, there's some glue there too. That's not good. That's not good. I think that's better. Probably just have to let this dry pretty good. The glue's probably still a little sticky. Okay, I know you're thinking she's got to be done, right? Well, I love this roar into history. And I think I want to add this to the page. Right there in the corner. Like that. I think I need to do this. If I had the opportunity to get into one of these tanks and drive it, would I? Yes, I would. I think that would be super cool. I'm using Fabri-Tac because it's a shiny brochure material. And I'm hoping it stays down nice and flat because I don't want it in the way of my driving tank here. Okay, well, that is it. You know, journaling is not just for girls. Think of Lewis and Clark and how famous their journals became. So not every page has to be pretty. Can certainly get ideas. See, this is sticking. I got some more glue there. So not every page has to be pretty. You can do one for the boys too. All right, I'm going to have to let all of this dry a little bit more. And there we are as part of the brochure. Got my mementos in the pocket there. And that is it for my American Heritage Museum experience. I really like these old vintage papers and how that came out. Happy junk journaling! Thanks for coming along today and sharing this tiny adventure. Bye-bye.